Bit of a handy little battle this. It's not really let up since the start, has it? Johnny Kazoum versus Marcus Bamberg, and it's going to be a case of who blinks first, essentially. In the heat of the United Arab Emirates sun, it's going to be very, very interesting to see which of those drivers cracks first. Here's Alex Khatib with the Leighton House teal colours on his Radical, looking very serene out in front. Here's Abdul Nasir Al Hamidi. Now, he cannot let the pressure go here. He's had 2 finishes only this year, so he really needs to put some points on the board. But being up in second place, that's going to be his best performance of the season. And if anything should happen to Alex Khatib up front, he is right there to take his first win of the season.
That is the case here for the number 76 as we go back now to the battle between the 5 and 25 as they work their way through the final corner. About 2 car lengths separated too. Actually, that's going through turn 1 because they've just gone across the line now. They're separated by 0.6 of a second, so Bamberg has lost 0.1 of a second on that lap, but he's sticking with the man that's in 4th place, and of course that was the battle for 5th not too long ago.
This is going to get interesting. Kazoum is now on the defensive. Marcus Bamberg has got all the cards up his sleeve here as the man chasing the guy in front.
And I can see where Marcus is strong now because he looks very strong coming out of the bowl complex. He had the run on Kazoum going through the corner, but Kazoum making that Radical as wide as he can and just shut the door. I mean, he did the same thing going down towards the final corner. Now they're into the UP building hairpin. That's turn 7, excuse me, at the moment, and looks like Marcus is not close enough to make a move. Marcus runs a bit wide there, but now it's down towards the bowl complex. So we'll see now if Marcus Bamberg can sneak up on the inside, or will Johnny Kazoum shut the door again, or will Marcus Bamberg try the harder way and go around the outside? Not quite. They both break as early as they can, and Marcus Bamberg really closes in there, working his way through the bowl complex. He's got a run on him. No, he doesn't. He has to choose the slot behind him as they go through the right-hander down towards turn 16. About 2 car lengths separating the two of them. They work their way through the final corner.
This battle continuing the way it is between Kazoum and Bamberg, it's fascinating because we see this dynamic every time, every lap. One of them is stronger in Sector 2, the other one's stronger in Sector 3, so it's like they're passing the ball, they're swapping sector times, and yet, try as he might, Bamberg is still stuck staring at the rear end of Johnny Kazoum's car, unable to make that move on the inside line. Watch as they come through the first corner. They've got slightly different driving lines as Bamberg takes the car slightly wider out, but that gains him a little bit more momentum in terms of speed, but it costs him in traction, so he loses a little bit of grip as he comes up towards the next chicane. So it's a counterproductive measure because he gets slightly faster in terms of pace, but he loses quite a lot in terms of traction. So it's stalemate between these two at the moment.
And then when it comes to the back straight, this is where Marcus Bamberg starts to close in because, of course, he's in the toe of the number 5. Down towards the very tight right-hander here, and Marcus closes as close as he dares, but just can't quite find a way on the inside of Johnny Kazoum. As they work their way now back up to the UP building hairpin. Again, will Marcus Bamberg try and sneak up on the inside? We can just see their position outside of our box here, and it looks like Bamberg's not close enough to make a move. As that was Abdul Nasir Al Hamidi there across.
He's competed with the likes of Khatib and Kabuchi in terms of raw pace in the early stages. He kept himself in the hunt. You kind of expect Khatib, once he's managed to get that upper hand, to extend the gap and drive away. But that hasn't fazed Al Hamidi at all. He's just got himself into a comfortable position, a good rhythm. He's not really pushed. Oh dear. Marcus Bamberg very nearly sliding around like a top there as he tries to get a little bit faster on the acceleration out of the hairpin. But this is now giving Johnny Kazoum a lot of homework.
It certainly is, and Tariq Kabuchi's now slowly clawing in the gap between himself and Abdul Nasir Al Hamidi. However, 18.1 seconds is going to be quite a tough ask with about 8.5 minutes to go on the clock. But Tariq Kabuchi there, scoring points where it matters. But championship rival, of course, is outscoring him. He'd like to be further up the field, but just not this weekend. I think he's going to have to wait till the next round as the battle continues to rage on here between 4th and 5th place, Johnny Kazoum and Marcus Bamberg, and the gaps come down once again to 0.2 of a second.
He's a racer here who really needs to be wise here. He needs to be sensible. He's got 8 minutes to do this, and he's only a couple of tenths of a second behind. That's less than the length of a Radical. So he's got to be patient. You can't just banzai in with 7.5 minutes to go. You've got to keep him guessing. You've got to keep him in limbo. As far as Johnny Kazoum is concerned, he's got all the mistakes to make here. It's up to Bamberg, but he doesn't need to rush this. He's got plenty of time. He can just sit behind Kazoum, let him make all the mistakes. You don't even need to try for an overtaking move at this point. Just sit behind him. Just let him do all the work.
And of course, with these two squabbling in 4th position, this is giving now Amir Faizloon a chance to sort of catch up now because he's got no one behind him. and the battle is about 10 seconds up the road, and we're keeping a close eye on that. That's coming down slightly as the laps tick by, and no doubt we might see not just a two-way battle for fourth place, we might see a three-way scrap to the line between the number 5, 25 and 15.
So here we go. Bamberg, look, he came from a long way back there and he did a sort of a fake slalom banzai move into the inside. Now, he knew he wasn't going for an overtake, but that just gives Johnny Kazum a little bit of a hesitation. Is he going for it? Is he not? And he's got to respond. These cars are fragile. They're delicate. You can't afford to go banging wheels with them. So it's Johnny Kazum now under pressure, but Bamberg is making him make mistakes.
Interesting to see what's going to happen now going down towards turn 1 as the gap sort of closes it now. It's up now to 0.4 of a second from that move that Bamberg trying to make going into the bowl as down at the first corner, heavy on the brakes for Johnny Kazum, takes a nice tight inside line, but so does Marcus Bamberg. Very similar driving lines going through there, but similar too wide going through turn 2 for Marcus Bamberg, but now it comes to sector 2, and this is where Bamberg starts to close in again, and then we see even...
The other man who's been really impressive is the man in front of these two, Johnny Kazum. You know, Marcus Bamberg has thrown everything bar the kitchen sink at that number 5, and he hasn't let up once. If anything, he's now just started to take the momentum and build on that confidence, and he's starting to stretch the gap a little bit. Kazum is now a second clear nearly of Marcus Bamberg. So Marcus has tried every trick in the book. It hasn't worked. Johnny has stood firm, and he's actually looking good for fourth place now.
So we just started the final lap of the race, and well, Alex Khatib is doing it in style on the penultimate lap, going fastest of all, a 1:42.069. He doesn't really need to go very fast now. He doesn't need to use too much of the car. He can sort of casually just drive around the...